Hey guys, welcome back. That's Mammoth. Um, so this is a story of when I was a birth control basics speaker for high schools. I had to be trained. I had to go to many classes. I had to take a test. I had to present in front of a panel of people evaluating my abilities. So I passed and I became a speaker. And they started sending me to different high schools in the Southern California region. I would show up with a huge flip chart. It's this really big chart because back in the 90s, I didn't have a laptop that I could just take with me and present that way over a projector or some type of screen or something. I had a flip chart. And then I had a box of supplies. This is it. I can tell you they must have more funding now because I did not have such a realistic looking piece of male anatomy. I had a banana, a plastic banana. So, for my demonstration. So I would go and we would have a conversation, me and the students. And just before anybody really freaks out, no student had to be there. They were not required to be there. Their parents were allowed to sign them out. They did not have to participate. Okay? So these were all students who had permission from their parents and approval from their parents to be joining us. And we would just have a very good, medically accurate and non-judgmental discussion about different areas of this topic. We would talk about the basics of anatomy, the basics of how you really do become pregnant or transmit disease, the different types of birth control out there, how to use them, how not to use them, some of the myths behind these different methods, the statistics behind these methods. And I do want to say for anybody who is, again, freaking out about this, yes, abstinence was heavily discussed and pointed out as the only and 100% method to avoid becoming pregnant or transmitting disease. Okay? So anyway, we would just go over all these methods. I would show them the different methods of birth control. We could pass them around so people could see what they felt like. It was a very just open discussion. Students were allowed to ask me any questions during the lecture, the discussion. And then yes, we did get to the condom on the banana demonstration. I would ask for a volunteer and always had someone ready and eager to participate. Usually probably the class clown. We all need those class clowns. They definitely add lots of jazz to a classroom. So we would demonstrate the condom on the banana, and I would give the student the banana and a wrapped condom and see what they did. And almost 100% of the time, the student would put the condom on upside down on the banana. So the wrong side facing down. And so they were unable to roll the condom down. And they would, almost 100% of the time, flip it over and start over. And that's when I would have to stop them and say, no, you can't do that because you have just contaminated the very thing you do not want contaminated, and you need to start over. You have made it basically useless. So they would have to always start over until they got it right. A lot of the times the students would use their teeth to open the condom package, which I would have to stop them immediately and say, that condom now needs to be thrown away. You have just rendered that basically useless because the very thing you do not want even a tiny hole in, you could have just created a hole in. They would have to start over. But finally we were successful. The student was, there was applause, and almost 100% of the time I would have many hands raised saying, "Can I try?" And of course, I would let whoever wanted to try. I would go through many condoms at these classroom lectures, which was fine by me. The more better. The more people understanding how to use them properly was my goal. And then at the end of the lecture, the students were asked and allowed to pass up little pieces of paper with whatever questions they had for me. And I never had anything inappropriate or something I couldn't answer. It was generally the same types of questions across the board. No matter where I was, no matter what school, it was generally about the same. And I have to say, a lot of the times, most of the times, it was, "My friend told me this." Or really, actually, "My boyfriend told me I couldn't get pregnant if ... And I would have to dispute the boyfriend's knowledge and explain to the student why that was not accurate and why medically she could, or whoever could, still get pregnant, or diseases could be transmitted. Now, I felt great about this at the time. I really did. I would get the nicest letters. I would get great reviews from the students and teachers, good feedback, gratitude, thanks, stories. It was wonderful. I loved it. And now I look back and I'm really glad I did it also, because not too long ago I read a study. It was from 2017, and it said that 55% of kids 14 to 18 have had some type of intercourse. And 80% of that, those numbers, those kids had used some type of protection. Now, I still think that's kind of depressing a bit, especially because I have kids, and I know my friends have kids, and I don't want them to experience such things so young. But what was the silver lining is that study was based off of, more recent years, and it was a decline from the 90s, the late 90s, in fact. So that means less students or less teens, 14 to 18, are having some type of intercourse. And I'm happy about that, because not only is it a decline, but because those numbers from the 90s were when I started this. We started this program, and I feel like maybe a small part, I had something to do with that. Maybe I reached someone and then they passed on some knowledge. Maybe I made a difference. I hope I did. And I hope those students who are now probably, in their 30s, definitely in their 30s, have taught their children, how to be safe and had a good experience discussing such matters, and they were able to do the same for their kids. And I was also a part of a group of people who wanted to move this forward, this discussion forward, and make it, as I said, medically accurate but non-judgmental for these young people. So anyway, that's my one story of the time I was a birth control basics speaker for high school students. One of my better memories. I loved it. So hit subscribe, comment. Have you ever done anything like this? Do you have a good experience with this discussion, or was it a horrible discussion for you? Like the video, keep watching. Very soon I'm going to have some big videos coming out, and I really could use your support now. I really could. Thank you so much.